I'm going to say a big thank you to Mike from Slough, who kindly sent me through a letter. This is from Dame Caroline Dinenage. And what is this about? Well, she pushed out a letter to the chief executive of Rumble, and it was about Russell Brand. We won't go through the whole thing, but she starts off by saying she's writing concerning the serious allegations regarding Russell Brand in the context of his being a content provider on Rumble with more than 1.4 million followers. So you can see the concern here is to do with the impact that Russell Brand has with those 1.4 million followers. But it goes on to say, however, we're also looking at his use of social media, including on Rumble, where he issued his preemptive response to the accusations made against him by the Sunday Times and Channel 4's dispatches. While we recognise that Rumble is not the creator of the content published by Mr. Brand, we are concerned that he may be able to profit from his content on the platform. So there's no real crime has yet been identified. Maybe that's going to happen, but essentially in goes the knife, and ultimately this letter is asking whether he's able to monetize, Russell Brand is able to monetize his content on Rumble, and she's saying that basically we need to know. However, what the Dame didn't do is bother to discuss with the Culture, Media and Sport Committee what she was about to do, and we're now seeing in the reports this morning that she's in trouble for taking action alone. But that demonstrates, I think, her haste to get that knife stuck in as far as she could.
So she wrote to Rumble. She also wrote to TikTok. Rumble's response from the chief executive was very firm and said, "You must be joking. This is not our concern, and we're not going to get involved in your attempts to silence freedom of speech." Now, what they said was that they don't agree with what everybody says that produces content for the Rumble platform, but they were very clear that they were not going to be attempting to censor anyone or demonetize anyone on the behalf of the British government.
Yeah, and if we might just pop that back on screen briefly. I think the final sentence here is important because she says, "We'd also like to know what Rumble is doing to ensure that creators are not able to use the platform to undermine the welfare of victims of inappropriate and potentially illegal behaviour." And yet, if we look at what action the government has ever taken to protect really vulnerable young people and children from sexual abuse, what we find is a constant wall of silence. So in her letter is this hook that all this is happening in order to protect victims, children, young people. This is the great lie. Because if the government was really concerned about doing this, it would be taking action across the board, but it doesn't.
Now, Kit Clarenberg in the Grayzone, thanks to Vanessa for sending this to me, has covered this in this article, Intel linked UK official pushing censorship of Russell Brand. So, of course, they're talking about Caroline Dinenage, of course, chair of the Culture, Media, Sport Select Committee. But of course, she is married to Mark Lancaster, who is Armed Forces Minister, Major General John Mark Lancaster, to give his full name. And he is Baron Lancaster of Kimbolton. And, well, he was at one point Deputy Commander of 77th Brigade from June 2018 to July 2020. He was Lieutenant Commander at that point. And then he was appointed Chair of the Reserve Forces 2030 review in January 2020. He was then promoted to Brigadier on the 1st of August 2020 and served as Deputy Director Joint Warfare at UK Strategic Command until August 2023. And then on the 26th of June this year, it was announced that he's been appointed as Director of Reserves to the rank of Major General. But the point is, he served for 2 years as Deputy Commander of 77th Brigade. And, well, what is going on here? Was this action taken by her on behalf of him?
Well, they're in bed together, it would appear.
Yes.
But yeah, this is the key question, isn't it, Mike? Because during lockdown, of course, 77 Brigade openly declared it was going to work for the government in order to help close down, disrupt, destroy any social media that was considered to be a challenge to the government's policy.
Now, what I will say is that at least Mark Lancaster has declared his interest in Parliament as a Deputy Commander of 77 Brigade. This was in a parliamentary answer, unlike Tobias Elwood. And of course, we're still waiting to hear from Tobias Elwood whether he has actually served, been taken off the reserve list and served while he's been sitting as an MP, because he is determined that he's entitled to a private public life.
Yeah.
And
just add on the end there, notes that Mark Lancaster refers to the fusion doctrine.
Yes.
So these people know exactly what we're doing, but we've now got the British Army used as a weapon against the British public, anybody who dares challenge the government. That's the reality.
Okay, let's welcome Vanessa to the programme.